I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, would you please take roll call?
Dave Abdallah is absent. Bill Bazzi.
Here.
Robert Constant.
Here.
Lisa Hicks Clayton.
Here.
Denise Malinowski Maxwell.
Here.
Ray Muscat.
Here.
Tom Wenzel.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask Nancy Byer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Next, we have the agenda approval.
Madam Chair,
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
I move to approve the order of business for March 27th, 2018, regular meeting of Dearborn Heights City Council as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Councilman
I
Muscat?
think we need to, 6.6 is a duplicate and needs to be removed from the
Yes.
fund transfers and current claims. And 6.7 also needs to be recalculated. We did this a few weeks ago because of the contract dispute, and I'd like to see that recalculated.
Okay.
And I have that written down here for a recalculation down to $297.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed?
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Oh, is this on? Any further discussion?
So those two items are coming off of current claims.
Not
Item-
off, one I'd like to have it recalculated. 6.7 recalculated, and what I figured was $297, I believe I have written down here.
Madam Chair, do we need a friendly amendment then to the motion? Because that's not what the motion included.
Yeah.
So there should be a friendly amendment, and I would, since I'm the maker of the motion, I can support that. I just need clarification. You said 6.6, if I may, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Question? The 6.6 you said is a duplicate?
Yeah, it was given by the comptroller. It was a duplicate payment, so it should be removed.
Yeah, that was given to us before the meeting.
It's a pension expense and they pay it.
Right. And then 6.7, the reason for and your adjustment was down to, if you would repeat what that adjustment was 200 and some odd dollars. That is because the attorney fees related to the union
Contract, yes.
which has not been resolved?
Yes.
Okay. I make that friendly amendment motion.
Okay.
Support.
Second? Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Next, we have approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of March 13th, 2018.
Madam Chair,
Councilman,
I move that the minutes from the March 13th, 2018 meeting attached as 4A be approved.
Second?
Councilman Hicks, second it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next on the agenda, we have public hearings and comment on agenda items. Please limit yourself to 2 minutes. Is there any public hearing and comment on agenda items? Okay, hearing none, we move on. Next item on the agenda is fund transfers and current claims.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Constant?
I move that current claims 6.1 through 6.20 be approved with the deletion of 6.6 and the change to, if it can be done now, 6.7 as outlined in item number 6.
Second.
Councilman Hicks Clayton seconded it. Any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Councilman Muscat?
Mr. Bazzi?
Okay. First one, 6.2 has renewal of the liability insurance for the Spirit Festival for the amount of $27,009. Does the Spirit Festival, does that generate profit? I mean, is that money coming out of the profit that we generate, or? I'll let Mr. Greibel, and if we still have the arrangement with Antonio's.
It's a budgeted item within the Spirit budget, but the Spirit budget has two sides. It has the revenue side and the expense side. For at least the last, I'm guessing, 7 or 8 years, the Spirit Festival has covered all their costs. The reason we get this insurance is because of the high level of exposure that we have with so many people coming. To me, we would have to get liquor liability anyways, and in most cases, that's going to cost you the majority of that cost anyways. And so we really kind of get the general liability almost for free. It's kind of a package deal that you get. So we would have an expense anyways, even if we didn't have the general liability, but it's been just a good business practice that we have additional coverage to protect the city.
Mr. Chair?
Councilman
To
Muscat?
piggyback on that, on 6.2, I see the amount of the insurance is $2,709. Why do we budget $29,840 for it if it's only 29 or 2700?
Well, there's a whole lot more that goes to Spirit Fest. That's the entire
That's
budget.
the entire budget for the Spirit
Yeah,
Fest.
she puts down the entire amount.
What I'm looking at here is insurance. and
No, that's just one aspect of
Okay,
Spirit.
that's fine and dandy with me. I just trying to figure out why we budget so much for that. Are you done, Mr.?
No, second one is 6A. It says, let's see, it says, pay the city of Dearborn an amount of $115,000. They reference account numbers and they reference invoice, but I don't see on here what the invoice, what it entails. What's included in the $115,000?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead,
Step up to
Lynn.
the microphone.
That is, we're paying for IT services, a yearly payment for the IT services from Dearborn Heights that they provide us. And it's broken down by.
Dearborn, you mean? From Dearborn, city
The
of
city of
Dearborn?
Dearborn?
Yeah, we entered into an agreement with them, and they provide IT services, and we agreed to pay the $115
Are they going to fix our phones?
in the process of.
Well, I mean, this was, I thought was supposed to be done back in December. We were supposed to have this done in December, and here we are. We're around the corner to April, and I still get phone calls from God knows who that says city clerk on it. And that's uncalled for. We've been, like I said before, we've been making phone calls to the moon since 1968, and we can't make a phone call here in Dearborn Heights with the proper name on it. The IT department in Dearborn is kind of, I think, should be taking some money away from them if they don't get this fixed. It's been going on way too long. We're not getting what, the citizens of this city aren't getting what we paid for. That's how I feel.
Same.
I'm sure the city clerk gets a lot of phone calls, people call back saying, hey, you called me, but they didn't call anybody. And I can see that happening.
Councilman
Okay,
Bazey?
yeah, same item. It says that it's coming out of the water and general fund. Which one is it? The water or general fund, or how much is coming out of it?
The first two items are general fund, the 101. 592 is water.
Yes.
So the majority is out of the general fund. It's split up by department.
Okay.
Okay, other question is the same thing we keep talking about, cleaning the sewer. Again, this is 615 for $26,492.41. So I went back to January since the first council meeting I was involved with, and I see a lot of repeat items on here. So we're cleaning the same sewers. So I created an Excel sheet and I started bouncing back. There's a lot of sewers that we're cleaning. It's the same one over and over every month.
Exactly.
So what is the city doing, or what is either the water, the building department? I mean, it's not that hard to look at a schematic to see where the flow's coming from, to see who's actually dumping stuff in the sewer.
It's a lot more difficult than you would think. Let's see, is Bill here? Bill is, Mr. Zimmer did have he had a test for his heart, so he might not be here today. I can't identify based upon the thing in here, but I know we have a map down in DPW, which you're more than welcome to look at any time. But there's certain trouble spots, and so we consistently clean those so that people don't end up with flooding in their basement.
Yeah, I understand nobody likes flooding, but at the same time, nobody likes to have stuff thrown down the sewers, stuff they're not supposed to. I mean, they have grease traps for businesses, and I'm assuming that's what they're throwing down the sewers and for it to get plugged up.
No, not always. A real problem area that the men of DPW have told me are actually these disposable diapers and disposable things. They don't.
The flushable wipes.
Yeah, they're not really. They shouldn't be flushed because they do clog our sewers, and so. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, Jack.
Yeah, one of the things that, one in particular was a business near Joy and Beach Daily. And we were focusing our attention on, our grease inspector was focusing his attention on that particular business. I literally just found out today, I talked to the company it's Great Lakes Vacuum that does the service. In fact, they do a lot of the service for a lot of the businesses in our city. And he actually pointed me to a different business that I didn't even anticipate they even had a grease trap in their business, but they do, and they've not had it cleaned. So we just had someone out there today to talk to them about it. So, you know, we're coming across it. I just actually talked to Dan Brooks about this yesterday. I'd like to present something to you to show what we're doing, what areas we're getting taken care of, and how we're going about it. I'm just kind of putting all the information together. I'm hoping by next month I'll be able to present something to you.
Okay, so for the next, I'm sorry, for the next, next time one of these gets end up on the agenda, I'd like to see, you know, who's actually inspecting the area. So before this company, Nagel Construction, goes in there, who's actually inspecting it? And they can tell what kind of stuff is coming through. They should report out to the city like, hey, we just cleaned this, and this is either diapers or grease. This is what we're cleaning here.
They do. There was one in the south end that I know I was talking with Sean, who's the superintendent in water, and he didn't feel it was business related at all. It was stuff that was accumulating from residential. So, and some of them, the way it was explained to me was, just historically, notoriously, they've been areas that have captured a lot and held on to a lot of, you know, grease, whether it be grease or other items. And so just like the mayor said, as a preventative measure, we've just always made sure we've kept those particular ones clear. So.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, may I just piggyback on that?
Go ahead.
Do you mind? Real quick, and ask if the mayor would consider, the Great Lakes Water Authority has that public service announcement. The video, I think it's on YouTube, that says what not to flush, and it talks about the wipes, and you mentioned that as being a problem for us. If that's something we can maybe air on WDHT, or even have a link on the city's website, so residents can view that, we can promote awareness, you know, because it says on them, you know, of course it says on there you can flush them, but it's like one of the worst things
It is.
you can do. And there is that public service announcement that the Great Lakes Water Authority has made.
Yeah.
So if we could
In
do
fact,
that.
Bob gave me a thumbs up, so we'll be happy to.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion?
One more item for me. 616, I know we discussed it last month for the cleaning service for the Caroline Kennedy Library. It's an amount for $2,348.83. Is this monthly fee?
Yeah, it's a monthly fee.
Okay, so what is the maintenance? Is that every day, 5 days a week, or is it?
It's 5 days a week,
5
Monday
days?
through Thursday and Saturday.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I got. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Councilman?
One more real
West?
quick, the Aquasite LLC.
Yep.
We're budgeting $587,801 for this. I didn't think that's what it cost, does it?
No, it's not. That's the contract services, so there's a multitude of vendors in that particular line. nowhere near.
Because I thought we paid less, like $70,000,
Yeah,
$80,000.
and as I announced at the last meeting, Sue McCormick is very close to having all the customers get included that are in the Great Lakes Water Authority, and so this bill could go away if Great Lakes Water Authority buys the service for, I forget, I think there's 72 of us communities that are
So
in
we
the-
could take that money and rebudget it for something else if necessary.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Next, we have consideration of bids. Mr. Clerk?
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Sure.
Can you clarify for the record on current claim 67, you are reducing the payment? Is
I'd
that-
like to see the payment only be $290.
Is that what the motion was? So
Yes, it was.
the payment on that will be $290.
$90.
$290 to $290.
Thank you.
No, not less, $290.
Can you explain exactly what what your findings were and how you came up with that?
You know, right now, the contract was supposed to be completed, as far as I'm concerned.
Can you elaborate to the audience?
Well,
what-
we voted on a contract between the City of Dearborn Heights and the TPOAM union, and now we got to go back into negotiations. So I feel we shouldn't have to pay for that. Something happened, and until they come and tell me what happened, I'm going to keep saying no underpayment. There was a few items in there that were not related to that contract, so I'm willing to pay for that. But I'm not going to pay for something that our residents paid for and didn't get. That's how I feel about it. Until they come and tell me what happened, and they haven't, that's just the way it is.
She'll be here
Okay,
next Tuesday.
next item on the agenda is report from city officials. We have from Comptroller Vance, General Fund Budget Amendment.
Mr. Chair?
Councilman Muscat?
I move to approve the budget amendment for the general fund in reference to emergency furnace purchase for ordnance repair, as outlined in 9A.
Support.
Councilman Constant supports. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, I had a question.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
The question is for Ordinance Director McIntyre. The transfer that you're looking for is $10,000. That's for part-time, is that correct? For your salaries?
No.
Or you're referring it the other way to maintenance? And what was the repair allocation?
That wasn't for him. That was for a furnace that had to be emergency replaced. That department is actually just our grounds and maintenance. And I can't remember what building it was, but we need to replace part of a rooftop furnace that wasn't in the budget, so it's been done.
Okay.
Can we find out where it was?
I believe we were told, and I can't remember what it was.
It's on
but-
the tip of my tongue.
that
Bill
Berlin?
was here, but he mentioned it to the council.
That's,
Richard A. Young.
gotcha. Okay, that's right.
I did
Okay.
know what it was, but
All right, thank
So
you.
we try to make the departments come with money from internal rather than go right to, and that's, so he reduced his part-time to pay for the
right.
new
Yes.
furnace.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Next, under reports from officials, we have from Corporation Counsel Miyake City Action Preservation Program, also known as CAPP, approval and RPF package.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move City Council approve the establishment of the City Action Preservation Plan, CAPP CAP program, and approve the right of first refusal to obtain properties from Wayne County Land Bank for rehabilitation and sale by Community Economic Development Department, approved contractors under the City Action Preservation Plan program. Also, I want to add, if we can, and I would imagine the council would have the ability to review the RFPs in a study session before we vote to accept the 5 that are we'll receive RFPs for. Thank you.
Okay, any discussion?
Okay with that?
Councilman,
quite right.
Why don't you
Bazzi?
pass the resolution the attorney wrote out on the second page? Yeah. Mr. Miyake gave you a resolution.
Right, I see. So that would, it's by resolution, that'd be to adopt the resolution, accepting quotes and proposals for the City Action Preservation Program, CAP. The city is seeking responses to this request for proposal packages in the City Action Preservation Program,
I'm sorry.
CAP. Correct? Is that where you are?
Councilwoman, it's actually on page 2 at the very top. Based on all the foregoing, I respectfully request that your honorable body adopt the following motion by, second by, to approve the adoption of the City Action Preservation Program CAP, to approve the request for proposals package for City Action Preservation Program submitted by Corporation Counsel Miyake on March 20, 2018, hereafter RFP package, and to approve the issuance of the RFP package consistent with the substance and requirements of the RFP package.
All right, so moved.
Support.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I don't know if this is the right forum to, who actually determines who the 5 developers?
They're going to be submitting bids. This is to go out to bid. People are going to come in and put their bid in, and then after the bids are all in, the bids are opened up, and then we go from there.
Well, it'll be a council approval ultimately, and there will be as many, we're looking at trying to have 5, but ultimately the people who would end up being approved will have to submit appropriate responsive RFPs, and they'll be vetted by the Community and Economic Development Department, Mr. Hashem and his department, and then we would come back here with the contracts, which will be, I've made it so that it's pretty much, if you look at it, it's part of this RFP package. The contract is pretty much going to be what they're going to have to end up agreeing to, and then, but you will ultimately have to do 2 things with respect to this. One of them is you will have to end up approving all of those contracts. And the second thing is you will need to end up also approving the purchase of the properties based on our, actually it's a second right of refusal. The state has the first right of refusal based on our second right of refusal. So that's what will have to end up happening, and that will end up having to happen. Joe, I think you were saying somewhere kind of like May, June, we're kind of like looking at in terms of the people being recommended for selection.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The deadline for returning the application that would be present, should you approve this motion, the application along with the RFPs should be at the comptroller's office in the next day or 2. They will also be on our website. They will be on the city's website. And then you have till April 30th to submit the application and the appropriate documentation that we require that Mr. Miyake and myself worked on for the last 4.5 months. On April 30th, that's the deadline for you to submit your RFPs. Then we go through the vetting process. These properties will not be available to us until July 1st, but we will have a cutoff as of April. I want to say by middle of June, we should have the 5. Probably the first week of June, we will have something for you, for the council to look at and to approve the 5 contractors. And on July 1st, then we can move forward with the next step.
Okay, thank you.
When you submit to the council the proposals, you will submit 5 proposals, right? Or
Well,
If we get them.
The actual proposals go basically to the comptroller's office. They're RFPs. They go for bids for the comptroller's office. They do the tabulation, and then they send them to us. We go through a vetting process that I think that we try to make it very fair for everybody to bid on this thing.
Okay.
Everything that you need is in the RFP. It's all in the document. It's about 40-some pages, I believe.
Okay, so I mean, I would like to see, I don't know about other council members, I'd like to see when it goes in front of us, to see all 5
Oh, absolutely.
bidders.
Yeah, I'd like to see them all too.
Councilman.
Okay, also, one of the things is, I don't know, I didn't see it on here, what the usage of the property. If it's just gonna be selling another home or a bunch of homes for people to use them as rentals and not, residents, is there something in there? Because okay.
As a matter of fact, if, Councilman, if you look at page 26, 12.5 says eligible purchasers. One of the goals of the cap is to have the home properties that are part of the property, that namely the properties that will go through this process, become or stay owner-occupied single-family residential units. B, developers shall only sell the home properties to home buyers who are individuals who will own and occupy the home properties that they purchase. Each home buyer shall register the home property he, she, or they purchase as homestead property with the city assessor's office. Mr. Hashem and I went through this, I would say meticulously. It would be very fair to us, and we have, I think, crafted a program that takes into account those types of concerns and tries to also be fair to anyone who might be interested. So we're not just having like one exclusive person, we have a rotation of people. We really spent a lot of time, I think, thinking it through. So if you have any questions, feel free to call either of us.
Councilwoman Hicks?
I just want to express my appreciation to our city attorney as well as you, Director Hashem. Been waiting for this RFP because it is something that is favorable for our community to do this, to take a tax foreclosed home and allow somebody who specializes in tax foreclosures and renovating the home, bringing it up to code, and encouraging home ownership in our community. So thank you for doing that, and I look forward to reviewing the RFPs.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Next on the agenda, from Emergency Management Director Ancrap, Spring Summer 2018 Dearborn Heights Today newsletter.
Mr. Chair?
Councilman Muscat?
I move council agree with Emergency Director Robert Ancrap, the request for council's advance authorization for the design, layout, printing, and distribution services for the Spring Summer 2018 Dearborn Heights Today newsletter. And it's not to exceed $11,100. That's about the estimate. And go from there.
Okay. And any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion's carried. Next on the agenda, from Police Chief Gavin, request to auction vehicles.
Madam Chair,
Sorry, go ahead.
Councilman Constant?
I move we concur with Police Chief Gavin and authorize the auctioning off of the vehicles as outlined in item 9D.
Second.
Councilman Bazey seconds it. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion's carried. Next on the agenda is from Parks and Recreation Director Greibel, Parks and Recreation Commission appointment.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Constant?
I move we concur with Recreation Director Ken Greibel and approve the appointment of Michelle Dumont, former member of the North Dearborn Heights Baseball League, to the Recreation Commission. She'll be the second female member of the Dearborn Heights Recreation Commission, as outlined in 9E.
Second. Support.
Councilman Bazey supported it. Any discussion?
Chair?
Councilman Muscat?
I got a question to the mayor. We appointed someone 2 weeks ago for this commission. Do these people have to live in the city?
Yes.
Well, wasn't the last one live in Dearborn?
No, he lives off of Ford Road near Outer Drive.
Lyman, yeah.
Okay, I thought that he lived in Dearborn. Excuse me. I wrote the question down. I wanted to ask the question.
No, we check residents.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Next on the agenda is the TIFA Chairman Kellett, June 30th, 2017 TIFA Audit Report.
Madam Chair,
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
move to receive, note, and file the Dearborn Heights TIFA financial report as included in 9F.
Support.
Support by Councilman Constant. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Next on the agenda is from our city clerk, the liquor license renewal.
Chair?
Councilman Muscat?
After reviewing this, and I spoke with our our city clerk, I'm going to ask council to direct Corporation Council to draft a letter to the businesses who have deficiencies and let them know that their liquor license may not be renewed with what's going on here. I think a letter from Corporation Council will help the city clerk in getting all this cleared up.
Second the motion.
Second by his guy.
Madam Chair,
Councilman
we can even
Fausti.
recommend that their license to sell liquor be revoked for some of the repeat violators.
That's a good idea.
It is a good idea, but I think a letter first from our Corporation Council, and give them the opportunity to come through, let them pay up what they have. If not, then I guess we can direct Corporation Council to draft a second letter at that time.
I appreciate the clerk taking the time
Yes,
to
thank you, Mr. Clerk.
prepare
Did a fine
this and
job.
get this to us. A good job.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion?
If I might, one of the owners of one of these businesses would like to address the entire council. I would have them come probably on a Tuesday off session, but there's a reason for the deficiency, and they explained it to me. I think you should hear what that deficiency. I'm not suggesting altering the letter, but I think you ought to, there's a couple reasons why a couple of these are behind.
Then maybe I
Corporation
can mention
Council be
something
here.
in the letter. Yeah.
And I think Corporation Council should be here
I agree.
when they show up.
Yep.
That's fine with me. Any further discussion?
Chair?
Councilman Wenzel?
Just so everyone knows, there's a list of the businesses that have liquor license that we have, and they are checked off okay or not okay from the building department, the clerk, comptroller, fire ordinance, police, and treasurer. And I noticed that several of them, most of them come from the deficiencies come from the comptroller. Now, what does that concern?
Water, I believe.
Unpaid water bill.
Another,
Councilman
and
Muscat?
I believe I should have called you, and I apologize for springing this on you now, but I heard rumors, and it's just a rumor, that there's a business at Joy Road and on Joy Road, just east of Beach Daily. It's a grocery store that's selling beer and wine and doesn't have a license, that I think we maybe need to check out.
Should be easy enough with, yeah, the PD will check it out.
Good.
Well,
Who seconded it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That was rumor that was told to me, so
We'll check it out.
it's worth checking it out.
Constant.
Guys having fun?
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. All right, next we have ordinance and resolutions. From Mayor Paleco, we have the Downriver Wastewater Utility Authority Definitive Transfer Agreement Resolution.
Ms. Chair,
Councilman Muscat.
this is a long resolution for me to read completely, but I make a motion that City Council concurs with Mayor Dan Paleco on this resolution for the definitive transfer agreement with Wayne County on the wastewater treatment plant in Wyandotte. As outlined in 11A.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Bazey. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Councilman Bazey?
I know it says here the resolution, but there's no resolution number, so would that get assigned?
Yeah, the clerk will put the council resolution.
And Mr. Chair, the only thing I see here in this resolution, down near the bottom of page 2, it says the municipality member to the DWA board shall vote in favor or against the definitive transfer agreement that has been negotiated with Wayne County for the purchase of, I believe that's a transfer, correct? And not a purchase?
It's a transfer purchase, so to speak.
Well, it's either one or the other. I don't know, a word transfer and purchase can mean
Purchase
two
by
different
the
things.
authority from Wayne County.
What would you suggest?
I mean, I asked this question at the meeting, and they all said, oh, no, it's a transfer, not a purchase.
Maybe we could end up, if it's not too much of a hassle, just putting transfer/purchase. And I can't imagine that would end up causing a problem. I think it's a valid point because technically it is a transfer. The question of title is something where we have a different view of it than the county does. So I think it's a valid
And you'll take care of that, I
point.
assume.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Councilman Wenzel?
if you don't mind, Mayor, could you give a brief description about this resolution and what it means to the citizens?
Yeah. There's the South Dearborn Heights flow of sanitary flows into eventually the downriver system in the Wyandotte. And there's a treatment plant. It has been operated by the county since 1962, I believe. And the county wants to get out of the business of dealing with sewage. So they came to the 13 communities, and originally Bob Picano, when he was the county executive, and he wanted to sell it to an investment firm in New York, and we would have ended up getting the bill for paying for the investment company, their purchase, plus they would want to make about a 12-14% return on investment. So it would have been a very expensive and probably increased our costs for the sewage disposal. The current county executive offered to the 13 communities to sell it for basically a few $1,000,000, and then also to include the legacy costs of the employees who had been working at the plant since 1962 that were still alive. And that's basically pension and health care. So the communities negotiated, and the price came down to $57.4 million, in which 3.5 is due in 3 years, and the remaining would be due initially. So the reason this is important to the community is that the 13 communities went out and bid to have an operator, and Veolia was low bidder. And we found out that Veolia could operate the system for $4 to $5 million less per year than Wayne County. Wayne County was just not as efficient. And Veolia operates 200 or 300 plants all over the world. So their expertise is what was significant, and that's the money that's being used to transfer purchases from the county. So we wanted the rates to be neutral, and that's how we achieved it. Currently, the way the system works is if the county spends $500 million on a plant, they give the 13 communities the bill. And the 13 communities will be working with Veolia to make sure the plant is efficiently run. The other aspect of this, which I think is very important, and in fact, Councilman Muscat has had an opportunity, as most of the council, to view the plant, but the 13 communities in Veolia, we want to set up an asset management plan and also make sure that the plant operates so it doesn't break down and there's no replacement parts, that we do the right kind of management of the operation of the plant. And that's not always been done. The county's kind of gone on if it's not broken, don't fix it type thing. And so we'll now start to get a better management of the plant. From a standpoint, there's two aspects for any of the communities, the 13. You can either be a customer or an owner. We've recommended and chosen to be an owner, and the reason is the customers will be charged 50% what an owner will be charged. So it really isn't advantageous to be a customer. It's advantageous to be an owner. So this has been going on now, the process for about 3 years, and it just didn't work out having the county operate this and the inefficiencies. So I probably spoke too much on it, but
Okay, well,
That's kind of a rundown.
But
Thank you.
if I may, Mr. Mayor, I went and, myself and the council members did visit the facility. And it's a very interesting facility. I enjoyed my time there. But I also was invited to a meeting where they spoke with Viola was there. And I've been involved with some pretty good preventative maintenance and predictive maintenance tasks in my time with my job, and Viola is just absolutely impressive. By reading their material, they do what they say. It's the first thing I asked them, what do you have in place of so you actually do what you say you're doing? And all of that stuff is in their preventative and predictive maintenances. They're going to do maintenance that the county never dreamed of ever doing. And that's what I'm impressed with, is the maintenance aspect, because basically, folks, that's what I know. That's my business, and a very impressive company. I was really pleased with them, and I'm all in with them.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. Next on the agenda, we have, let's see, from Parks and Recreation Director Greibel, resolution to prohibit selling of non-authorized persons at the 2018 Spirit Festivals.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to concur with Parks and Recreation Director Greibel and prohibit the selling of products and/or services on the grounds of the Canfield Community Center during the 2018 Spirit Festival, which was June 6th to the 10th, unless prior approval is granted by the Spirit 2018 Festival Committee. This also includes the area of Beach Daily Road that runs parallel with the festival grounds, as outlined in 11B.
Support.
Any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Councilman Bazey?
have we had issues with people selling prohibited stuff at the grounds?
Yeah, we get these vendors that will go right along. Well, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, the mayor was correct. He's been around well, he's been around longer than I have, so he's well aware of it. Yeah, we do get people that have show up, and the police department said to be able to enforce it, then we should have a motion from the city council which would give them the authority, because we have a lot of people who are paying for spots on the grounds, and to be fair to them.
So you just kick them out? Why don't we have something on here for enforcement?
something if they get caught?
Well, the enforcement is we just tell them to leave, and the police have the authority to do that, and the police are on the ground. So, once we initiated this this process, we haven't had any problems, and now vendors are aware that we have this in place, so they don't even come out.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Can we just make this permanent for all future Spirit Fests? So instead of bringing it up, we just, I don't know if it takes an ordinance or what it takes.
I have to refer to Corporation Council on.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're going to do something that's more permanent, then it should end up being in the form of an ordinance.
Well, we'll look at that.
we'll look at that.
Okay, any
But we
further
can wait.
discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next on the agenda is the second reading of the proposed ordinance number H-18-03, providing for more effective enforcement of motor carrier regulations and other traffic regulations.
Council Chair?
Councilman Muscat?
I move council regard this as a second reading of ordinance H-18-03 as outlined in 11C.
Support.
Support by Councilman Constant. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Next, we have new business on the agenda. We have a business license renewal for Famous Auto Center at 25996 Van Born.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks?
Move to approve the business license renewal application for Famous Auto Center as outlined in 13A.
Do I hear a second?
Support.
Councilman Muscat supported it. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next on the agenda is removal of traffic control device number T-272, no turn on red, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, northbound Beach Daily, south of Wilson.
Madam Chair?
Councilwoman Hicks?
Just a question. Can we approve, because there's 6 of them here, do they have to be separate motions, or can we approve them all in one motion? As in 13B through 13G, approve the traffic device controls?
I mean, I'll just
Can we
read
do
off the
that?
numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The numbers of the other ones are T-269, and then T-271, T-270, and T-268.
All right, Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks?
I move to approve.
T
I'm sorry?
273.
Yes.
273.
Oh, it's 273,
273 is on there,
sorry.
yes. So in the motion is to move to approve the request for the traffic devices, and there's item 13B through 13G as submitted.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. Next, we have members of the public. First, we start out with comments from council members.
Madam Chair, are you taking announcements from the table before that?
Yes, he just
Yes.
said
Oh, okay.
Mr. Council Chair?
Councilman,
I was at the Crestwood School Board meeting this past Monday, and a discussion came up about the students leaving the parking lot. There's a lot of confusion with the way the kids are driving. I myself witnessed an incident that was very shameful, and the board asked me, since I was there, to kindly beg our chief of police for a little police presence once in a while, just to show up when they go home, so the kids maybe just slow down automatically when they see a police car coming down Beach Daily.
We've been out there, that's an ongoing problem. So we've been out, we were trying to write the tickets. The problem there again is, we have a 10-minute window. Some of the parents start getting there half an hour early, so they go in the circle drive. But I was out there myself last week, and we wrote a few tickets.
It's not so much the parents, it's the kids leaving the parking lot.
Okay.
It's the actual students leaving the parking lot, not so much the parents. It gets pretty hectic there, and they kind of asked me to ask you if we could do that.
We'll keep an eye on that.
I did.
With all those signs that we approved, that you approved tonight, it's going to be a little chaotic. The Beach, Wilson area with Wise and with Crestwood. So that's why we put those signs, and hopefully with the kids leaving the school, we can stay on top of them.
And just for, I guess I'm done with that. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief. We had a study session earlier, and just to let the public there know that we are now discussing the ordinance about no parking on trash day pickup. That's in a process of going back and enforcing the ordinance, and so that'll soon be coming with help from Corporation Counsel. And the other thing I'd like to mention is we have a lot of problems, and I keep getting these phone calls, and I do keep sending them off to our ordinance department about commercial vehicles parked in our neighborhood streets. Mr. McIntyre is working on it. Problem I see with the commercial vehicles, it's after 5, 6 o'clock at night. Ordinance doesn't work then to be able to come out and see them. I think the administration needs to come up with a game plan to have ordinance work maybe multiple shifts, or have people working one weekend per month with having regular days off during the week, like a 7-day operation. And maybe we can clean this up. That's my comments for today. Thank you.
okay. Anyone else?
Madam Chair.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have 3 things to share. The first thing, SIMCOG, Southeast Michigan Council of Government, of which Dearborn Heights is a member community that represents the 7 counties that make up Southeast Michigan. They're celebrating their 50th anniversary. So with that, we have a beautiful tile that's been presented to the city of Dearborn Heights. So we'll pass it down, and they've asked for the mayor's office, whatever you see fit for this tile, it's there. So happy anniversary to Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. And with that, also want to announce with summer coming that they have launched an app called Park Finder, and you can find it in the Google and Apple app stores. You can download the app and locate parks anywhere in Southeast Michigan, which is wonderful. And that leads me to a question regarding the city website. The city council had approved expenditure, I believe it's Revive is the company, and that expenditure was approved several months ago. Actually, it was back in, it would have been possibly May or June. But I wanted to see if we have an update on the progress, in particular the app is what I'm looking for, because apps and mobile phones are a great way to connect for people, especially reporting ordinance violations and things like that. So
app is secondary. The website was supposed to happen a couple weeks ago. We had all our training schedule, and the person in charge of it at Revise was hospitalized, so that's being rescheduled for 2 weeks from now. So the website should go up within the next 30 days, and once that gets live, it's probably a couple months for the app.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I had one more thing, if I may, Madam. I'm sorry, Madam Chair. For our comptroller, and I know you're probably getting settled in, and I respect that. I know you're doing a great job with that. But the city council, prior to this year, we used to get monthly budgets reports as far as actual numbers. Is that something that we can go back to receiving? So we can see as expenditures play out, we can look, in our budget book and do those analysis and see how we're moving forward with our budget through the fiscal year.
I'm generating that and submitting it to the department heads.
Okay.
And I guess I just assumed it was getting to the board as well after the department heads. It went, to all the offices. So I have been generating that. I can start making sure that you get it.
We'll put you on the it wasn't intentional, and it's just a matter, yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
I thought it would
and-
go through whoever did the agenda, so when I gave it, so I will make sure you guys get a copy, because I have been generating it.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
I
Councilor
forgot
Muscat.
a couple of, two things, and I apologize. One is, where do we stand with Warren Valley Golf Course? I'm getting real nervous here.
Right now, the county is supposed to be taking it up actually this week. I thought they were going to be taking it up previously in terms of the assignment agreement. And then
It's the commission.
Yeah.
Okay, and my second thing is I see Mr. Mackey out in the audience, and how are we coming along with that for the Canfield Ice Arena refab? I'd like to see that get up and running soon.
Yeah, Mr. Greibel and I just met about that today. We have some changes in language. I will be sending them over to him tomorrow morning, and then we will end up sending out to Mr. Curry, Mr. Mackey's attorney, what we would be able to recommend and see what their response is going to be with regard to that.
Yeah, we need to get that going. Summertime's right around the corner, springtime, and I'd like to see our kids get out there and start working out and get some expertise help.
Okay. Councilman Constant?
This Saturday at the Canfield Center, starting at 9 o'clock, we have our Kiwanis annual Easter egg hunt. So everyone's invited. We put Easter eggs out and have kids of the different ages go out, and some of the Easter eggs have money in them. Always get a diverse crowd. Everyone's welcome. And then I'll leave it to our super salesman, Councilman Wenzel, to talk about the creek cleanup and the sponsorships.
Thank you, Councilman. As mentioned before, this Saturday, May 5th, we're holding our 25th annual E-Course Creek Cleanup and Rain Garden Maintenance. It'll take place right behind the Richard A. Young Center on the south end. Like it says, it's our 25th annual. It's a good community get-together. We register in the morning. We go out to various cleanup sites, take out debris out of the creek, shopping carts, picnic tables, garbage cans, things of that nature. Mark spots where the county can come in with bigger projects like trees or something that have fallen across. And then at the end of the time, we go for 4 hours, normally till noon, 12:30. We have a barbecue picnic at the Richard A. Young Center. And we also have T-shirts for all our volunteers. And to supplement the cost of the T-shirts and the tools that we buy every year, we need sponsorships. And all this information will be available on the city website and the Facebook page starting tomorrow. And thank you very much. And I do have one other thing, please.
Okay.
There's been a lot of talk lately around different residents of the city if they could utilize vacant city-owned lots for city, like farming or gardens or something like that. Who could they get a hold of to answer those questions?
With the rats?
Mr. Mayor?
No.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, the one problem with gardens is they can generate and be a food source for rats, so that becomes somewhat of a problem.
They work in Detroit because it's urban and everybody can focus, but in Dearborn Heights, everybody has their own gardens at home.
Yeah. What if an individual lives next to an empty lot, depending on, if it's we've sometimes allowed them to use it, and certainly that would be something if they want to come in and talk about, we can look at whether or not that's doable.
We normally do a lot use agreement, which makes them responsible to take care of the property. However, it's essentially a license, which allows us to end up being able to get to the property whenever we need to. And but it works out as a win-win if they're going to maintain it and it's something that's close to them already. And but sometimes they just don't work. We've had situations where people have wanted to put permanent structures onto them, and that's not always an easy thing to do. So if you've talked to someone, let them know that's probably what we'd be looking at in the future.
So they'd contact the mayor's office?
Yeah,
or is that
contact my office.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I have an announcement. The Lascawa VFW post at 6828 North Waverly is collecting old, worn, and torn American flags for their flag retirement ceremony to be held on Tuesday, April 17th at 12:30 p.m. So if you have old flags and you want to dispose of them in the proper way, bring them, just drop them off at the VFW, and they will burn them and take care of properly disposing of them. Also, too, I'd like to let the residents know that Todd's Pharmacy at 25871 Ford Road is currently accepting old prescription medications. This is a drop-off box in their store. It's registered with the DEA as a drop-off point, and they are picked up and incinerated by the DEA. So Todd's never touches them, but they are approved to have that. And it's a locked box. There's 3 keys that it takes to open it. So if you have old prescriptions, get them out of your home and bring them to Todd's. Mr. Clerk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excuse me, just want to talk a little bit about elections. Believe it or not, it's going to be April 1st, and things are happening upon us. I was at a meeting with the state of Michigan today, reviewing some changes coming up for the current election cycle. There's also some legislation right now that could affect some of the things we do procedurally in the election, which I'll keep our citizenship aware of. But what I want to say right now is that packets are ready for the school board elections. Although they're not due till July. Both Crestwood and D7 have elections coming up, and just to make people aware, if you're considering running for D7, we have a unique situation this year where we did have a resignation. So there will be multiple elections in D7, one of them being to fill a partial term, which will commence upon the canvass completion after the November election and last until the end of the year. So you have to be aware of, if you're going to file, what exactly you're filing for. I think there's 3 full-term positions that will commence January 1st, but there is that 1 partial term. So all the information is on the city website. If you go to the clerk's office or go directly to the elections tab, the full explanation is there. We also have a board outside the clerk's office. If you happen to visit us at City Hall, and all the information is on regarding those positions. Finally, we're getting calls already for absentee ballots. We haven't finalized the candidate list yet, but what I want to make people aware, you're welcome to be put on an absentee ballot permanent list, which will entitle you to receive an absentee ballot application each and every election. We will automatically mail you that. You do not get the ballot itself automatically. You get the application, and you must fill the application out and fulfill the requirements on that. So if you're interested in getting that application each and every election, please call my office, 313-791-3432, and we'll certainly be more than happy to put you on that permanent absentee application list. We will keep you updated on any further things as they change election-wise. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other announcements from the council members or comments? At this time, we're going to open it up to public announcements for the community.
Hello, Council Chair and Mayor. I wanted to talk about a couple of upcoming events at the library. First off, Tuesday, April 10th at 6:30 p.m. at John F. Kennedy Jr. Library, and Wednesday, April 18th at 7 p.m. at Carolyn County Library will be our spring puppet show. New puppet characters join Tiberius Tiger as he continues to foil Mr. Jim's ability to be the city poet. New cast, same zaniness. Next Wednesday, April 4th, at 7 p.m. at Carolyn County Library, we invite you to a presentation on Woodlawn Cemetery, a Michigan 20th century outdoor museum. Join Russell Rumey, a former employee of the cemetery, as he delves into the history of the iconic cemetery and the many famous people interred there. Also upcoming is the Spring Library Book Sale, Thursday, April 12th from 10 to 8 p.m., Friday, April 13th from 10 to 4, and Saturday, April 14th from 10 to 4 at Carolyn County Library. Lots of special deals from the Friend stores have been building up. Come on out and do not miss any hidden gems that could go adorn your bookshelf. They're also looking for help, so if you're interested in signing up to assist on the book sale, you can come to either library, and there's sign-up forms there. I also wanted to make mention that from June 7th through June 15th, the youth area of the Carolyn County Library will be closed as we recarpet it, just in time for the summer reading program to start. So that's all for now. Thanks for your time, and see you at the library.
Director?
Thank you.
Are you still accepting any donations of paperback books?
Yes.
Okay, I
Yes,
have
we
a few
accept
bags for it.
Yep, we accept them. Thank you.
Good evening, Council.
Good
I
evening.
wanted to talk tonight about Chuck. For those of you that don't know what Chuck is or who Chuck is, Chuck is a little 3-year-old Beagle, Terrier, and Chihuahua mix. He was hit by a car at Warren and Telegraph about 3 weeks ago. He fractured his pelvis and cracked the leg socket. He was at Michigan Humane Society. He was under their care there. They contacted us and said that he was, his stress level was real high. They didn't think that it was the best place for him to recover. They thought he would do better if he was in a quieter place. He's on complete cage rest. The only time he gets to come out is to use the bathroom. So our animal control department decided that we would foster him. So he's with us every day.
Yeah.
And then I'm taking him home at nights, and we may alternate with some other people in the office that's doing that. Why we have him, we're evaluating what his adoption potential is, whether or not he can socialize with people. He has a lot of anxiety, and clearly you can see that he's been through a significant trauma, but he has become super popular. I even have people, I usually try to get here between 7 and 7:30 in the morning to start my day, and I've had people meet me in the parking lot with donations that early in the morning. So what I'm telling people is the foster program at the Michigan Humane Society, particularly the one that we're dealing with where our shelter is in Westland, they give you everything you could possibly need while you foster. You don't pay for anything. The only thing that you're giving is your time and your care, taking care of the animal. They provide you with the food, blankets, cages, everything you need they give you. So all the donations that have been coming in for Chuck, we appreciate, and I want people to know that we're actually taking them and donating them to the shelter. If you want to continue doing that, we certainly appreciate it. Almost daily we're getting contacted about donations for Chuck. So on your Facebook page, if you can, for the month of April, and I'll tell you what is significant about April in a minute, if you could end your post on Facebook with #GoChuck in support of Chuck, he'd appreciate it.
Thank you for that. I've been following that story. You are doing a great job.
Yeah, it's
Thank you for what you've done.
He's super awesome. And people on their lunch breaks here at City Hall or their breaks are coming and hanging out with them. And he's doing well. We've kind of moved the cage now where he can kind of see more of the public, and he's hearing a lot of noises, and he seems to be doing well. I wanted to talk about Chuck because I also want to talk about how full the shelter is right now with animals that they would love for people to come and foster. Again, they provide everything for you, all the medical care. Some of these are animals that dogs particularly that maybe are going through heartworm treatment and they need to be in a quiet setting and not around a lot of noise and that. For that heartworm medication to work, they need to actually be quiet. So if you're interested in fostering both a cat or right now they have 3 sets of litters of kittens that don't have their mother. So they're feeding them around the clock. Every 4 to 6 hours they have to be fed. They're desperate for people to come and foster. If you'd like to, you can contact them. The phone number is area code 734-398-4961. And if you call them, they'll put you in touch with their foster care people. And there's a few steps you have to go through to get approved, but it's fairly simple. The month of April, particularly the week of April 8th through the 12th, is National Animal Control Officer Appreciation Week. Last couple of years, we've recognized that. We are a member of the national organization at a local level, and we're going to be having some events during that week, but particularly on April 12th, this will be our 4th year that we're having an open house. We're welcoming the public to come in, meet the animal control officers, kind of see what equipment we use. We're going to have an open house from 2 to 4 on April 12th. It's Thursday. There'll be some light refreshments that day. And also, Michigan Humane Society is they're hoping to bring out about 10 to 15 animals that day that will be available for adoption. They've all been vaccinated, determined that they can go into most households. They'll have their staff here, and you can actually come here to City Hall, see the animals, spend time with them, and make a decision even that day if you want to adopt an animal right from City Hall. So they're going to be here from 1 to 4 on April 12th, the same day as our open house. And then July 8th, I just got confirmation yesterday, last week, July 8th, it's a Sunday, we're going to be doing the low-cost vaccination clinic. We host the Michigan Humane Society here. Folks can come with their dog, cat, rabbits. Last year we had rabbits, we had guinea pigs. The vaccinations are somewhere around $5. They haven't really gone up in cost since we've started doing it. It's a really nice price, $5. $5 rabies vaccination, $10 to microchip your animal. We did it last year and we serviced over 400 animals that came through in about 4 hours. They have a great setup the way they do it. People don't even complain about being in the line. They might at most wait about 25 to 30 minutes before they get to one of the tables with their animals. So that's all I have for tonight. Remember, #GoChuck. So.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Councilman Wenzel?
I had the pleasure of meeting Chuck. Jack came by my house last week, and he had Chuck in the truck with him.
Yeah.
And he seemed really comfortable, and Jack's doing a great job, and I think it might be hard for Jack to give up Chuck.
We'll see. We'll see. He's a great co-pilot. He was listening for other dogs barking so we could find out who has licenses.
I may have to replace you with Chuck.
Madam Chair, I just have one item. We spent the entire day in negotiations, and I'm going to ask Mr. Miyake to make the comment, because you never know what you can express publicly or not, but because of the fact that people have made this such a public thing, I'll let Mr. Miyake tell you what took place today.
Yeah, and I'll try to keep my comments brief, given the fact that I expect that we're going to have a closed session soon about this. I can only describe the experience as frustrating and strange. Basically, I was there for a portion of the morning session up till about 12:30. Beth Ray O'Donnell and I ended up meeting with the business agent and also with the mediator. There was really issues only having to do with the ordinance and part-timers. That's under Article 10. We had 4 different issues that needed to be addressed. The business agent said that on one of them, I mean, ultimately, we went back and forth, but ultimately he agreed that we could end up they would change their position with regard to one of those items. We had already offered a concession on something else. And then I left to meet with Mr. Greibel. The mayor had to leave for a little while. I came back somewhere in the 3:30 to 4 o'clock time frame. And then when it was about 4:30, we were informed by the mediator that the members of the union had just got up and left.
Madam Chair, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think
we're not going to comment on this.
It should be important that he tells people what we're talking about.
We're going to have to go to a closed session.
Yeah,
We
but
gotta
I
be
mean,
careful.
but that basically is the basic gist of things, and it was, like I said, I've never been in a negotiation where you've ended up having something told that this looks like where we're going and how we should be fine with this, and then 4 hours later, the other side walks. So
Well, thank you very much. Any other public announcements?
Hi, Nancy Breyer, Colgate Street. I have a couple things. RHS, which is both Roosevelt and Robichaud High School, are going to be having a fundraiser at Cherry Hill Bowling Alley between 3 and 6 p.m. on April 8th. They have a big picnic that they put on Labor Day weekend over at the park across from the school there on Beach Daily. So this is one of their first things, and it'll be $20, and you get 2 games of bowling, the shoes, pizza, and pop. So everybody's invited to that. And I have another announcement and a thank you. We have a Southwest Dearborn Heights Neighborhood Association, and we were nicely attended by Lisa, Ray, and Dave on our election meeting on the 16th. And they caught us up to date on some of the things in the city. It was really nice for them to attend. I really appreciate your coming. And our meetings will be the 3rd Wednesday of the month at Thorne School, Gully, and Annapolis in the gymnasium between 7 and 9. Everyone's welcome. If you need an application to become a member, $15 a year. We have Neighborhood Watch, and we have that once-a-month meeting, and we discuss all kinds of things that are going on. And we'd love to have members, associates, business, and people who live in the area. You can contact me directly if you want my phone number. I'll give it to you on the way out. I'm currently the president, so I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say that your organization is wonderful. I don't live in your area, but I'm an associate member.
Yes.
I like going there, talking with people, seeing what they're doing. And you guys do a great job down there. I wish the whole city had associations like that.
We're working at it, so anybody who wants to join, we're really available.
Congratulations also.
Thank you. Any other announcements?
Is it okay to give it out publicly? 313-333-1707. Leave me a voicemail, I'll get back with you if I'm not there.
Any other public announcements? At this time, we're going to open it up to public comment. I ask you to step up to the podium. Please state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Bless you. Bless you. Please, one for you and you. Good evening, Zuhair Abdelhat, 354 Rosemary. I was at the Board of Education last night, and I want to thank our police department for the great job they're doing protecting our kids and responding so fast to the threats which they were made to Crestwood School and to Riverside. And I really appreciate what they did, and I hope they continue the investigation because this is a very serious issue and there shouldn't be any tolerance. It should be zero tolerance. Second, I just gave you a couple pages. I don't want to talk about them tonight because I want to give you a chance to look at them because I really don't want what happened before that we overcharged the residents millions of dollars on the CSO. I just don't want it to happen again, and I would like the City Council to ask the treasurer if this money is in a separate, specifically separate account, it's not intermingling with any account, and we follow the letter of Miller Canfield that we should have a plan to spend down this money on the outstanding bonds, especially if we have bonds which we are paying higher interest rate on it than what we are collecting on this money. And I'll be talking about it next week. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment? At this time, I'd like to thank everyone for taking, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Step up to the podium, give us your name, address, and limit your comment to 3 minutes, please.
Red Davis, 25676 Loch Lomond. I've heard discussions about yield signs, stop signs, street lights. They're serious problems, but I think one of the serious problems we have is cell phone use. Just coming here from Loch Lomond, I passed 6 people texting and on their cell phones. They're not paying attention. Now you can see it on the highways where you think someone's intoxicated. You get by them, they're not. They're on their cell phones. States like Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, Indiana have laws against that. High fines. You get caught in New York using your phone and driving, $600 fine, automatic. So things have to be done statewide, but nothing's being done. I've addressed that.
Madam Chair?
Wait till I'm done and you can have it, Bob, all right?
Go ahead, Red.
And so it's a statewide thing, but if cities start getting involved in it, people will react. The other thing is, it was brought up about garbage and where to put your cans and driving. We get a newsletter that tells about when to put yard waste out and when your garbage is picked up, you can't be on the street. It's a newsletter that's always put out every year. Obviously, citizens don't read it. So to put stuff on your cans is a bunch of crap to me, because it's already there. It's for people to get involved and read it, and they don't.
I agree with you, Red. I'm just trying to find a way to make it happen.
I understand that, Ray.
Working on it,
buddy.
I understand that. It's
And I
no
know
big,
you do.
no big
Thank you.
thing. It's just my comment. That's all. I agree with you. You agree with me. So that's politics. I'm an old union guy.
Me too.
I'm a labor rep. Okay, and sometimes I talk too much. And another thing was brought up. We don't need to do anything until we find out what's going on in November about marijuana. It's going to the voters, and it's also going to be brought up about medical marijuana. What's going to happen with it? You're going to have stronger laws with recreation and everything else. And it really doesn't matter. If they pass the law, they'll pass the law. If they don't, people are still going to buy it. That's just the way it's always been. That's the way it's always going to be. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Quick.
Yep.
So when I was in Lansing, it was Gino Polidori's bill to no texting while driving, and you'd be surprised, but AT&T was the biggest opposition, and our former Speaker of the House, Andy Dillon, didn't want to put it on. But we had talked about not only no texting, but the technology is there for hands-free using of a cell phone when you're driving. And you notice it really on the expressway. You'll see somebody, and they'll be weaving, and then you look, and they'll have that phone right in their ear. Or in front of them, and they'll be yelling. I'll be driving on 94 to go to court downtown in the morning, and they're moving from lane to lane, and it's not because they're drinking, it's because they're on their cell phone.
Well, you see it too, Bobby. I see it every day, and I know that AT&T was a big opponent against it. I know that. I talked with AT&T, and like I told AT&T, look, I have a landline, cell phones, website. I'll drop you. If you're not going to help me, you tell me where my dollars are going to help you. That's the only way you're going to get people involved, is the dollar sign. You let the public know what AT&T thinks. They don't, a lot of people don't know that. You know it and I know it because we're involved in it. And we know what's happening. If you publicize stuff and you put it out, and you're putting it out to the public so they're aware of the opponent you have to protect you, that they don't give a crap, then you're going to have a response from the people.
And right now, it's only a secondary offense. So if a police officer, you pull up at a corner and he sees you texting, he can't arrest you for that. That should really be a
Look at the law in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. First time offense, you're fined. It's not
Okay.
You're fine. And that's the way it should be. You're fine. If it comes out of your pocket, I'll guarantee you're going to stop. That's the only way you're going to get people to react to something, and I know that from personal experience. To get an adjustment on someone's mind, you hit them in their pocket. Thank you very much.
Thank
Madam
you,
Chair.
and have a good night.
May I just add, you're right where you have to hit somebody in the pocketbook on this. It already is, because if you have your insurance rates for your automobile, and you'll notice they increase them frequently, do they not? And they will tell you, because I've followed this already, that their rates are increasing because of distracted drivers. And they're talking about the texting and the phone use. It's already affecting everybody in your pocketbook with your insurance rates.
You look at the pocketbook of people in Detroit. It's not for him. It's not anything about anything, but it's red line. It's where you're living.
Yes, that's true too.
So
Yes.
there's certain ways insurance companies are nothing but high-priced lobbyists that are paying people in Lansing to vote the way they want.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other?
John England.
He's at his time. I'm sorry. We're at the limit there. Any other public comment?
Motion to adjourn.
Mustang, it's really nice.
Adjourn.
I've actually.
Who seconded it?